Ladies and gentlemen, today we dive into the world of LaRussell, an independent rapper who just has a great heart, great mind, and great perspective. It was a truly refreshing conversation. This is a guy that is independent, so he has concerts in his own backyard. He has a restaurant where you decide what you pay for the meal. He's turning the rap world upside down with business models that haven't really been done before, and he's an innovator. So excited to talk to him. Let's dive into his life. Ladies and gentlemen, LaRussell. Ladies and gentlemen, we're sitting here with a true independent artist, which is rare to say in this day and age. We're sitting here with LaRussell, L.A. Russell. Do you go by LaRussell?
LaRussell, yeah.
LaRussell, that's what I thought. Okay. And you just got here at like 8 a.m. What the hell were you doing this morning? You caught is that the opposite of a red eye? How early were you up this morning?
A blue eye.
A blue eye, dude.
Man, we had to head to the airport at 4 a.m. Got to the airport. Flew in, came straight here before we go home,
So I have some experience working with rappers, and the amount of rappers I would say would make a 4 a.m. flight would be almost 0%. Most rappers would not.
We don't see rappers in the airport at 4 a.m. for sure.
Dude, and I don't know if you experience some of the same thing this channel experienced working with rappers. Is sometimes if a guy tells you, I'll be there at 6 p.m., you're damn near at midnight wondering what's going on, if someone's going to show up.
I don't really have to experience that because my rapper friends know how I am. And if I say this is the time we doing it and you're not there, we'll leave you. So, yeah, I don't have to experience that much.
I would imagine you have a competitive advantage in rap simply because you're so business-minded. I feel like a lot of rappers... Like, I know rappers that they don't even know what they're doing today until their manager says. They wake them up and be like, hey, you got to go here today.
Right.
I would not enjoy having that little control over my own schedule. But I would guess that when you're talking business with people and you're actually running the show, that you have a big foot in the door for...
Yeah, and I got a great team around me. Some days I wake up and I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do, too. But I figure it out. I like to wing life a lot. But, yeah, I'm large and in charge.
And you're an absolute productive son of a gun. Like you've made what, 21, 22, 20
30.
plus 30 albums?
30. A 30 ball.
That just sounds like a ridiculous number.
Right? It almost sounds like we making it up.
You did 9 songs last night or in the last day or so?
I did. Yep. Last 24 hours.
Can you break that down for some people? Because some people, you get a project once every 2 or 3 years from them. You're like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that was all right. How are you? Like, are you just always in a creative mind frame where you're just flowing and going, or how does that work?
No, I'm not. I'll go pockets of time, like weeks, even a month at a time, where I don't really write anything. But when I do finally get in that spirit and in that space, I write in bulk. Like a lot of my albums are probably made in a span of a day, 2 days, because I like to write in bulk. Like this last run, it's just I'll get in and lock in, and we wrote all those songs from scratch too. Like they play the beat and we write them and we get it done in that time frame. So yeah, I just create in bulk. I'm saying, like you say, you come out here and you go through 4 or 5, and that's how we do it too. Exactly.
Yeah. One thing that's been on my mind quite a lot that I'd like your take on is I've noticed that on the radio nowadays, conscious rap is almost dead, it seems like.
It's gone.
And it's a little bit disturbing to me because, I don't know, like radio is supposed to be at least a little bit child safe. And I'm just seeing what kids are growing up listening to. And most of it is murder music. And I think there's a time and a place for it. Like that's the type of music.
Time and place for murder music.
I think if you're going into a gym, when you're trying to work out, or you're trying to like pump up a team in the locker room, you're ready to go. You know what I mean? But it just seems like the industry is almost just absolutely squeezed out any sort of conscious rap. And it's a little, I think we need more of it. We need that message.
They realize how profitable fast food is. And to cultivate healthy food, there's a longer process. Like if I want to grow an apple tree, it takes me years to be able to eat apples every season after. But if I want a Big Mac, that's nothing. The process is just so simpler. So the industry just They just lean toward the profit. They don't have the ability anymore to cultivate talent or the patience anymore, right? Everyone can't plant a seed and water it every day for the next, 48, 60 months and then wait till the apples finally grow to eat. Some people are just like, I need that shit right now. And, that's to our detriment, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, how do you infuse more of it? Because it's almost like, I guess it is, if we're taking the food analogy, it's almost like you're the certified organic, non-lab grown meat. Like you're like the pure
Right.
stuff on the shelf, and there's only a certain market. Like I guess the more for the masses you are, the more watered down shit's gonna be just by nature. You know?
Yeah, because of consumption. And it's hard to. That's why I love Drake, because Drake is someone who can give us a lot and also give us quality. But a lot of artists can't do that. If they're giving you a lot, they can't give you quality. Like I pride myself, like I've given 30 albums, but if you go listen to any verse of mine, you're not going to be like, that wasn't great, like it's tough to be able to consistently give it and give something that's of that level.
Well, that's what makes him really remarkable is his longevity. Because I think we're entering an era where longevity is very, very difficult. Like for
Right.
example, I just saw a TikTok. It was about Chance the Rapper performing, and I guess the audience wasn't too big for the guy recording the TikTok, and he's like, "Damn, the fall off of Chance the Rapper needs to be studied." I'm thinking
That's insane.
he came out in 2008 I remember I was in either middle school or early high school, and when Acid Rap came out. So he's had a 10-year plus career, and he's
decade.
still doing very well.
A decade.
And for someone to say the fall off needs to be studied, I'm like, bitch, have you ever even gotten your foot in the door? Like,
It's
how?
always someone who's never sold out a stadium. You feel me? The opinions always come from people who's never done it. And that's why you can't listen to people. For anyone to last a decade in this industry, it's phenomenal. It takes a lot of work. Like a lot of artists, we've literally witnessed the past. Most of them don't last 12 months, 18 if they're lucky,
Why do you think that is?
The music sucks. Is that
Plain and simple, if
And
your
it's not-
product shit-
The music sucks. The product isn't great, and then they're not personable. So their brand awareness is like, look, we don't know who the fuck these artists are. We hear the songs and they go viral, and we know the sound, but you don't know who the fuck they are.
But the funny thing is, in the beginning of their song is, you already know what the fuck it is.
You know who the fuck I am.
And then it's like-
we're
and it's
like,
like,
no, we don't know who the fuck you
Sir,
are.
sir, can you take 3 minutes to explain? Because I really don't know.
But yeah, I mean that's what it is. When a product isn't great and it's like, man, I also don't know where it's coming from. It's just it's very easy for you to move on to the next product as a consumer because you never got attached to it.
What I see is it's also maybe it's an ego thing a little bit too, where once someone achieves a certain level of success, they think all of the hard work is past them, and that they walk into the room and they don't have to kind of earn their keep anymore.
And that's not, I thought that shit too. Like, man, I thought when I finally like got to this point and I was making pavement, I was like doing this, that I was gonna be chilling. But it's like, nigga, I flew in at 7 and I came straight here. Like, you have to work 10 times harder. Now I'm building things that are much larger than I was ever building. So I really don't get to take that break. It's more work than ever once you make it if you're really doing something. But some people do get to make it and chill. Some people go get to do a show and they don't have a team to take care of and family and things like that, so they can. But for us that's really building shit, the bigger it gets, the more you have to work. You guys are up at 7 with cameras and microphones, and I walked in and you just start straight to it. You feel me? So it's like you didn't have to do that much work 3 years ago. You feel me? It's way more now.
So the fellas and I, we went for a little stroll last night. We were just thinking about this adventure and this experience of life, and we're very much enjoying it. But one thing I was commenting on is like, it almost feels like sometimes things are not too efficient, but the other side of the coin isn't good either. Like, we don't want to have a week where there's nothing going on, we have nothing to do. But like, there is something to be said where it's like, I think from behind the scenes, like especially if you're putting out an album every month or you're putting out a video every week, or like, oh man, it's not that much of a hustle. But this is a 7-day-a-week pursuit, and it doesn't mean I'm going 15 hours a day. I definitely enjoy my life and I know how to navigate my time. But to stay on and to keep, it's almost like a quick treadmill that we're on. And that if you slow down the pace, you're gonna fall off and hit the floor.
Man, it's you eat every day. And that's what this work is. It's like if you want it to happen consistently, it's just you do it.
If you don't
Just
go out
like-
and hunt, the tribe's gonna starve.
Simple.
Yeah.
No work, no food.
Now, you have a lot of moving pieces in your empire here. I was seeing that you have stock that people can invest in you, that you say no to like investment firms, but you say yes to, like, if an individual fan wants to call you up, and like, how does that work? How does
I don't say no to investment firms if it aligns and makes sense.
There was a magazine article that needs to be corrected that I'll be talking to your editor.
They often get it wrong, and that's because journalism nowadays isn't as like personal. Like now when you do PR, they have you send like your bio and all this shit, or they send you template questions and then they just kind of copy and like, journalism is like not in its true form anymore. Huh? It's rough. And it's because everybody just wants the story instead of like the story and pulling up and taking time. But beyond all that, I let fans and people in community, whoever, invest in songs that they love. I just thought it was a great idea because I had a lot of songs that I loved from artists that I found early before they blew up. Like I was listening to a lot of Tim shit before she had like that spike, and I was like, fuck. If I was able to invest in her early, even with my platform, Good Company, I started a live performance platform, and what I used was to cultivate talent. So I was able to invest in a lot of artists early and get a % because I helped build it. But I was like, man, if I found an artist I really loved early, and I've been listening to Jensen McRae, I've been listening to her shit for so long, and I'm like, I wish I could have a piece of that by investing. So I was like, fuck it, we're going to create the system. So
did you create a valuation of yourself? Like, hey, my stock's worth $100 million. If you want a 1%,
not necessarily. I didn't even do it in that way because every song is different, right? There's some songs that's been going viral all online, and everywhere I go, they're like, go get that bag. So clearly that song is worth a lot more if you want a percentage of it because it's bringing in more income. But some songs are just album cuts that you may just love and no one else is going crazy over, but you're like, this is my favorite shit. And to me, it's like, that doesn't have to be as expensive. It's like you can have a stake for a lower amount because no one else even knows about this song or is invested in it, but you can still yield returns from it. So it's like, there's no specific valuation. It's all based on feeling and heart and what it's doing in the world.
There was a time, I don't know how long ago, if this was maybe a year or two ago, but there was a time on my TikTok algorithm that damn near half the videos that came up were you rapping.
Beating their head in, huh?
Yeah, you were just going on a tear there. And I don't know how Instagram sometimes turns it off and on. Like, are you on TikTok? Are you on TikTok at all?
Yeah.
Do you ever notice there's some people you see all the time and then all of a sudden they just disappear, and it's not like you didn't like their stuff anymore, but like TikTok just stops shuffling it towards you?
That's how I go. As long as you're utilizing their sources, you always is going to be, to their discretion, however they want to display your work and broadcast it. But, we still there.
Of course. And there's a motto that you have that I think is really interesting. I believe Bon Jovi is doing this at his restaurant too, is the kind of a you choose what you pay method, which I was thinking about it. The boys and I he's a very good financial mind over there. He's a damn near savant when it comes to numbers and figuring out finances. I was wondering, like, well, I guess in everything, you can either get screwed by something or it can go really well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you ever have someone like send you 1 cent for a song and you're like, dog, what the hell is this? Like, ramp it up a little bit.
So I do these things. So I do 2 variations of Proud to Pay. One is pay what you want and one is offer based. When I do shows in my backyard, it's offer based.
Your literal home backyard?
Yep, or any show. When I do any show, it's offer based. But when I feed the community at the restaurant, it's pay what you want. And because it's 2 different initiatives. If I'm giving people food and feeding the community, it's pay what you want, because clearly if you're coming here because you need free food, you may not have the means to pay. So I don't care if you give me 1 cent or not. I didn't do it to make money. Mm-hmm. But my shows, when you come see me live, it's offer based. So you can offer 1 cent, but I don't have to accept 1 cent. I get to accept whatever I feel like it's worth to me.
But the psychology of it is I almost think people will pay higher than they normally would have.
Man, I've had people pay $2,500 for a ticket. I've had people pay $2,500 for an album. Albums used to be $10, and people will go above and beyond because, like I said, it's not just about the product; it's about the brand. If someone really loves your brand and who you are, they're always going to look out for you a bit more.
Is the paper or the essay, "A Thousand True Fans"? Is that anything that you've ever seen or heard about before?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Basically, this guy's concept was like, look, you don't need to boil the whole ocean. You don't need the entire world rocking with you. If you have 1,000 people willing to pay $100 a year for your T-shirts, your art, your music, you will be worth six figures as an artist, and you'll be able to go independent. And that to me was really because it took a
Only
lot.
thing is like that shit don't be real. Cause like people make those vague statements like, yeah, if you got 1,000 people a year to pay you $100, right? That's $100,000. But how much money did it take you to make the merch and to make the music and to make the content to develop those 1,000 people? It's like, yeah, you made $100,000, but it cost you 70, 60,000 to
Right.
make it. You only made $30,000. That shit's not. It's not a real thing.
But I think the
I
notion that, because I think like I struggled for years to make money on YouTube, and like, and then when you break down the little components of like, it doesn't have to be as
The
big as you
world,
think
right?
it is to make it. Because I think a lot of us, when we set out on this art, it's simply because we feel like we don't belong anywhere else in the world, and like this is what we feel like we want to do, and we don't care if we're a billionaire, or we just want to have expenses paid so that we can live our life as an artist. And I feel like when you like the paradox of that is when you do just choose something for the passion, that somehow the money actually follows way more than it ever would have if you just, I'm going into the profession for the money.
Man, yeah, that shit flows to you because like money can't be your pursuit. Otherwise, you're always going to have a very rough time because you'll never have enough money to do everything you want to do. But when you just choose to do everything you want to do and let the money come, you just it's a easier experience. And sometimes it still get rough. Sometimes you like, fuck, when is the money gonna come? But it always shows up. It always shows up when you show up.
Can you walk me through one of the first independent launches? Whether I don't know if the restaurant was. I'm trying to remember the article, what year it was that I read that. But
Last year was the first one, and then we did it again this year too.
so, is there a particular launch that you can go more into detail about what the launch was, what it took behind the scenes to launch it, and what the results were once you did?
The backyard show. I think that was one of my greatest launches, and it took a lot. I had to renovate the entire backyard. at
Your
my
own
parents' home.
backyard?
Yeah.
Was that a security issue? Did you have any stalkers or weird folks that showed up?
Not
and were,
necessarily. It's funny when I had first said I was gonna do it, like telling my parents, everybody had like the antsy, like, damn, you gonna let everybody at the house? But it's like, bro, my whole life, everybody has been at my house. All the homies from school, all my parents' homes and shit. Like, we've always had like the party crib. So for me, it was like the people who are gonna come to this backyard is people who love and respect my art. So they're gonna treat me as such. And man, we went through renovations. It's funny because the day I thought to do it, the next day we started renovating. And I had the homies over and we started digging trenches. And, we got video of that whole process. But when we finally got it done, we launched the first show on my mom's birthday. And it just was like hella cool. It was like a backyard kickback. And that was also the first show we did like the offer-based ticketing. And we didn't even have a platform built at that time, so we had to do it through Excel sheets. Me and Tieta had to go through offers every day and send emails and get like marking it green, marking it yellow, bidding, and it was just a whole process. But it was a really dope experience because we not finally, because I did it a few times, but we created something really new and refreshing that we haven't seen in a culture that didn't exist, and it just gave us. It's a fucking apple tree. It's like once you grow it, you can eat from it every season. You don't have to worry about food. Like I can go into my back. If I'm hurting, I can announce a show and say, it's in my backyard next week. And I'll be able to make some money to get back to where I need to be to do another. You feel me? Like we grow our own apple tree. I can go in the backyard and pick an apple whenever I'm starving.
One thing that I think is really cool is the people that have the courage to just think, I think I can pull this off, and they just go for it. Because I think, especially the older you get in this world, there's definitely a feeling of like, come on, man, be real, or like, stay in these lines, don't color outside of the lines. And when you really think about it, like everything is one giant experiment. And if the worst case scenario is that, oh shit, I lost, there's
Right.
there's not much of a downside. Like when you try these new ideas or when you really, really go for it, because you're always gonna be able to learn something from it and apply it to the next time. And I think like I really like how you're going about it because life is meant to be in the field. Like I think a lot of people that are unsatisfied in life find themselves on the bleachers and they have in their heart a desire to be in the field, but they're not setting it up. They're not taking enough risks on themselves.
They're not willing to accept everything that comes with being in a field, and that's the thing. Life is like riding a fucking bike. It's like the only way you're able to learn how to ride a bike is if you're willing to fall, because that comes with learning to ride a bike. And a lot of people are like, I want to learn how to ride a bike, but I don't want to fall. And it's like, okay, well, you just never learn.
I think the first time I ever rode a bike without the training wheels, I went down my driveway, I went through, and then I crashed into the middle of the cul-de-sac. Like I think a girl was watching and cheering. I like lost track of the bike and I just completely ate it. But it takes falling in the damn grass to be able to brush yourself off and eventually ride the bike.
For you to
with
realize,
confidence.
like, oh, that fall didn't kill me. And then you get up and you get to ride harder because you're like, oh, the worst thing I'm going to do is fall. Great. I'm going to ride this bitch until I'm the best in the world. You feel me?
Was there ever a risk you took? You were like, I'm nervous about this one. Like this one, I don't know about. Like I'm excited, but holy shit, if this doesn't go to plan, I could be.
I have a really deep sense of knowing with everything I go after.
Your compass as well points in the right direction.
Yeah. Everything I go after, I feel like it's going to be successful. I don't really go after anything that makes me feel like I don't think like I go after things that's big. That's like, man, I know it's a challenge, but never that I feel like it's unobtainable. But I don't feel like nothing is unobtainable. Like I look at everything. The easiest way to eat an elephant is bit by bit, and I break everything down. When I built my backyard, we first built just the staging and the side barriers, and then after the first show, it was like, oh, we need to add bleachers. Then after that, it was like, oh, let's add lights. Oh, let's add sunshine. It's like we didn't do it all in one. We did it progressively. Just we took it bit by bit, and eventually we had a premier venue that people fly in from all over the world to visit.
One thing that I think a lot, especially the younger they get, a lot of kids are feeling right now is they have this desire to blow up overnight. And I think that's actually a curse. And I think that's something that, I guess if you're a seasoned professional, you know that, I guess just as much time as it takes to build the foundation is how long the house is going to hold up in a way. And you've seen it with some rappers, like the one that always comes to mind is the Designer Panda song, where like that took over the entire world for I don't know how many months, and then it's like I don't know if anyone can name a second Designer song, and nothing on him as an artist, but I don't think it's good for an artist to blow up so fast if they don't have a good foundation underneath. What's your take on the blown up overnight thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly it. It's just not real, and the feeling it's gonna be over fast. Like you ever had like a shawty that you really wanted to hit, but it was nothing but physical attraction, and then you hit, and after you're just like you don't even feel great. You don't even feel like you accomplished anything. It's just like damn,
as soon as the juice left your body, you were like,
right? And that's how that blowing up overnight is. It's like you have to. Man, it's such a mental trip. I was just thinking about it with someone I witnessed that shit happen to, and it's just like you go from everybody in your face and wanting something from you and to like you could walk somewhere and no one's even really stopping or saying anything. And that's like traumatic and mentally taxing. So it's rough, but it's very hard to blow up overnight. Like, if you could get one, you did something incredible, because a lot of people make music their entire life and never get one moment, but it's rough. It's rough. And yeah, that shit sucks.
If there's an independent artist that I just have a lot of respect for is Tech Nine. I've been to probably 4 rap shows in my whole life, and 3 of them were Tech Nine.
Wow.
And He has a crazy ass audience, dude. I didn't really know about the Juggalo scene until I got there, and all these guys yelling "woo woo" are like pushing us out of the way to try and get to the front of the show. But when I see what he's built on an independent platform, it's just like holy shit. Like
Brand.
I love it from top to bottom.
That's what happened when you build an incredible brand. Like most people know Tech Nine and can't name one song from him, but they know who the fuck Tech Nine is, and that's the power of brand. People really love him and what he built and what he established. That never goes away. He's the type of person who could do it the rest of his life.
He's 50
in
years
my
old right
backyard,
now.
I could perform in my backyard until I'm old and gray, and people will come see me. If it was just the people who come see me today, like my fans are never leaving. I'd have to do something insane. Like that's how much love. And even if I did something insane, they would be like, "Man, I fuck with you. I feel you. I got it. We gonna get through." You feel me? Like when you build a brand that's just based on integrity and authenticity, that shit never goes away. You don't have to chase hits and chase the next thing and try to be trendy or hot because you got something sustainable. You know that next season is gonna be some more apples on that motherfucker. And you don't have to do all the extra shit.
It does seem like the way to blow up right now is either to be like extremely gangster and have like the most crazy rap song with 20 guns in the air, or it's to kind of have a gimmick to it where it's like you're playing some sort of character. I don't know if I see like a common third option in the industry right now. Like, is that what you see is like the most people pursuing one path or the other?
Yes, but what you see is by design, right?
Tell me more.
We see that the most because that's what's pushed in front of us the most. Whoever is spending the most money on ads and marketing is who we're going to see, and that is just where they put all the money. But that isn't the most common lane. The artists that I know that are like successful sustainably, like a lot of the niggas that you see that's hot and got the hit record and shit, like they not successful. They just have a record. They're not even really owned. They don't got real paper to where they can take care of their families and they, you know, like really employ people. Like that shit, they're not successful. They're just hot.
I'm going to tell you about an extremely lucrative deal I was offered by one of the big record labels out there. Believe it or not, I've made a rap song or two, and you haven't seen me selling out any arenas, but this fucking label sent me the splits, and at the end of the day, they wanted me to sign where I was gonna get about 8% of the song, and I paid for the music video, and I paid for the production. And I'm the marketing engine. Like it's my audience that's gonna go see it along with the artist that I was collaborating with. And
was it for one song?
One song. But still, like the numbers were so shitty that I almost thought I almost felt I was kind of like disrespected. I was like, I'm not retarded. Like I know what the graph looks like.
It can get disrespectful, but sometimes you can give something to get something. Like I look at things like if I have this song out, right? Mm-hmm. And the song is generating me $100,000. And over the next 5 years, it'll probably generate me $500,000. And someone comes in and say, well, I'll put all this money into it, and now it's going to generate $20 million. And I'll give you 8% of that $20 million perpetually.
A smaller piece of a bigger pie.
Right?
But
it's like,
my question is, where was the bigger pie going to be created in this deal? Because it was all going to be from my audience and the rapper I was collaborating with audience. The label doesn't have, like, you look at the labels like blue checkmark page, they get 14 likes on that shit.
And you know what's crazy? The labels never have an audience. They're always using your shit, which is all they can do. But they have the ability of amplification, and they know that. They know that they could take the same song that you've been sitting at your house only making $20 on DistroKid with and make that shit make millions. And they're like, if we're going to do that, we're going to take the bulk of it until you work your leverage to a point where it's like, no, I'm already generating that shit. That's always going to be how it is. It's like, that's why I don't think people should be able to get $1 million deals until they've made $1 million themselves and proven they can make that. Because otherwise, it's like you're setting yourself up for failure. You're never going to get to own that shit because you wasn't able to do it without them.
What happens when a rapper can't generate the money that their deal gave them? Like, are they in debt to the label, or how does that work?
They are in debt to the label, but I mean, you really get to walk away scot-free.
Okay.
Honestly, when a
So it's
label
like a
gives
bad
you
startup.
money, if you never recoup, it's like it's on them. They took the loss, and you still get to kind of maneuver. Sometimes you don't get to release any more music, depending on what your contract terms was with them and if they shelf you. But I mean, if you had some shit for like one album and you delivered, it's like you got to walk away the winner, and that's it. And that's the thing people don't understand. Everyone's like, yeah, when a label gives you money, it's a loan and yada yada. And yeah, it is a loan, but it's like it's a loan that you don't truly have to pay back. If I take out a loan from the bank, I have to pay it back or my credit goes to shit. If a label gives me $1 million and I don't recoup, I'm going to walk away with $1 million. You feel me? As simple as that. It's like you don't get the rights to your shit, but you walked away with the money to... Most people take an advance from a label and they don't invest it in anything to make more money.
Please don't get me started on this.
Like when the label gives you a check, you're supposed to use that check to run up all your shit so you don't need the label no more. But if you don't use that shit to invest in anything, you're insane.
I have a dear friend, and I'm watching his spending habits. He has spent, if you include the taxes he's supposed to pay on the money he got, like the chunk that he's spending at Johnny Dane's shop is hurting my heart. It's hurting my heart. I feel like 20 to 30% of the deal has been spent at Johnny Dane's, and I'm just thinking, brother, like this is the shot. Like not everyone gets this big pot of money. There's so much things you can do with that. Like you could buy real estate with it. You could buy equipment. You could buy.
Look at that shit. Like say you go to Johnny Dane's and you spend 50 grand, right?
I wish it was just that.
So say even more. Say I'm gonna start with 50. Say you spend 50 grand right at Johnny Dane's. That means you lost 50 grand. If you take that same 50 grand and put it in ads, you'll be able to generate another 50 grand within the next 6-7 months, maybe sooner, because someone sees that ad and like, oh, I want to book you. Someone else sees and said, oh, I want to sync this song. Someone else. So you could use that to generate more money. And then you could use that money you generated
once
to go
you're
to
independent, then you go to the luxuries. But what do you think I feel like part of rap that the trap people can fall into is this, like, if a rapper has a Walmart outfit on and no bling, people are almost like he's not a real rapper. Like it's almost like part of the change to the image is having
that shit. It only happened when you not actually a rapper. Like you're not actually nice. I mean, for the past few years, like if you go in my comments, it was just niggas like, man, he need to dress, he need to cut his hair, he need to do this. And it's like, well, yeah, I made $1 million and you're on Instagram commenting on my appearance. Like that shit's not real when it's real. Steph Curry can walk on the court wearing any fucking thing and he's still gonna cook your ass. But when you don't have the craft or the product, people look at everything else. So you have to have everything else in alignment because it's like, damn, you suck and you don't look the part. You feel me? Like it's almost like you doubling down. Like you can't be a star. But the at the least, if you don't have the ability, you have to at least look like a star because you lack the other qualities. But if you just have the main quality, if you're just great at what you do, you can look however the fuck you want to look.
I'm going to talk about a secret that is in front of us, right out in the open, that I'm noticing on rappers' pages right now. I'm not going to name names, but some of the biggest rappers on the list are paying for views on YouTube. I see it because the comment doesn't even it's the authentic views. It even says in the comment like, this guy's amazing, authentic views. I'm like, the service should probably like hide that it's doing that because it's just.
It's not the rappers, Joe.
It's the labels behind their back?
Yes, it be the labels, and sometimes it don't be the label. It be the third-party service that the label hires. So labels outsource a lot of their shit. Man, I did a deep dive in 2019. I have found Chartmetric, And I just data dove. Like every artist that was breaking that time by the labels, I went and dove into all their data, playlist and YouTube to see where their source was coming from, because I was reaching out to those people like, hey, can you playlist this? I sound similar to this, or yada, yada, right? And I start finding hella fake playlists that their songs was, a lot of artists who are big now, they were basically using these fake playlists to like build the energy to make Spotify believe that everyone was listening and investing in his song, and it would trigger it algorithmically.
So it did work.
Fuck yeah, it worked. Of course it worked. Of course it, and it still works today. When you go on YouTube and you look on your homepage and it's a video you've never seen, but it says 1 million views, in your mind, what do you say?
This guy must be legit.
Let me see what the fuck. Let me go check it out. And that leads to an authentic view. The fake view ends up leading to an authentic view, and eventually it just becomes authentic views. They know what they're doing, but it's like they know what they're doing, and they don't care that you know. They don't care that you know there's fake views. You feel me? Like,
so it's kind of fake it till you make it in a way?
yeah. It's all, the entire rap game is literally fake it till you make it. Literally. Like, it's almost insane. It's literally fake it till you make it. The entire game. No one's really doing the shit that you see online that you think is happening. Like the numbers you think is happening. Fucking Burner Boy sold like 25, 30,000 units, but sells out stadiums. And then you have artists who the labels boost and they selling 100,000 and they can't even fill 1,000 cap room. So that tells you either Burner Boy numbers are real and his shit is real, somebody else's shit is fake. You feel me? That shit doesn't make no sense.
All right, so no one else is listening to this. It's just me and you on this one. No cameras are here. But is there any devil worship in the music industry? Is that real?
I haven't experienced any, but I have experienced.
You haven't had to sacrifice anyone
sinister people.
You haven't had to do a blood sacrifice or anything to get your song on a list?
Yeah, no, not me. I don't really have to deal with it.
I told the guys, like, hide the knives in the kitchen when this guy walks in because I'm not sure how in the industry he is.
Hilarious. I mean, the industry is really tricky. Like, you meet people that are very interesting and have interesting energies, and I think that's where the outside perception is like skewed. It's like not a secret society, just a vibrational society. Like billionaires hang out with billionaires. And when you're a billionaire and you do weird shit, you find other billionaires who do weird shit and y'all just do it together.
I'm thinking of buying an island. You know what I mean?
Right.
Me and my old business partner Epstein, he was thinking about buying an island.
You finna get canceled.
Have you ever had an experience with cancellation?
No, I don't think I'm cancelable, honestly, because I just don't care, and I'm
even if you rolled up your sleeve and you had a swastika on your arm, you don't think you'd be cancelable?
I don't think so. I think people will be like, it's fake.
If you can survive the swastika tattoo, that means your fan base is undeniable.
If you can survive the swastika shit, it means your fan base is racist and they align with you, or yeah, that's the only out. It's like no one can get. You're always gonna have people that agree with what you agree with, so you really can't get canceled. Like, you feel me? People could take certain resources from you, but it's like you can't get canceled because there's other people who agree with that shit. You would just have a fucking concert full of niggas with swastikas on their arm.
It does feel weird that there does seem like there's certain opinions that the plug can get pulled on you. Like, for instance, I was just talking to a YouTube guy that, I mean, he's doing very well. He's 1 million+ subscribers. Does some of the more dangerous videos around the world. Like, this guy gets embedded in crazy situations. And he had one video that was, I believe, pro-Palestine. And it feel like all of a sudden, like in the algorithm, he's not in there anymore. And I don't know. It does seem like there's certain opinions that, like, you can have publicly, and then there's certain opinions that if you have them, you're out the window. And it's always very obvious. Like, it's usually what's, because I feel like most of the string pullers are more on the pretty progressive side. So, like, you could go tell everyone, get a vaccine and wear a mask. You're never going to get the plug pulled on you. But if you had the counter opinion, you know, there's people that have been deplatformed. What do you think about the thing that almost is like, if you I don't try and get too political, so I don't really ever have to worry
Go
about
for
getting
it.
to platform. But like the feeling that if you don't have the thing that lines up with what the big string pullers are saying, that someone behind the scenes could take you off the map. Is there any sort of hunch or feeling about that? Or have you seen it happen?
I think you can definitely get blackballed if you're reliant on the industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but that's life, right? If I have this, say I have this infrastructure, right? Say I supply your cameras, your microphones, your board, all this shit, and one day you're like, fuck LaRussell. I don't want nothing to do with LaRussell. And then you're like, but can I still use your mics and your cameras and all of your resources? It's like, no, dumbass. That's just not how it's going to work. And that's how they do. They supply all the resources. They have all the infrastructure. So, yeah, if you piss them off, they're going to take their infrastructure. If I walk in your house and slap your mother, you're going to be like, get the fuck out, and you never going to use my shit again. That's how everyone is. They're the same way. They're not going to do it no different. You think you're going to be able to talk your shit and do whatever you want and then go ask them to use their shit still? No, create your own shit.
So that's how you become uncancelable, as long as you have that independent base. You
have
own
to
all
have
your
own
means of
infrastructure.
production.
You cannot be relying on somebody else. You be a fucking fool. You be a fucking fool to be relying on them to feed you every day and then go piss them off.
And that's where I think when we come full circle about where I see some rappers investing their money is just like, dog, like that's enough money to become unfuckwithable. And you're deciding to invest it into something that's worthless, really.
Right.
Speaking of the Nazis, we live in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Speaking of the Nazis.
And we just found out about an hour away.
You from the mill.
Yeah, we're from Milwaukee.
Wow, man, we just spent some time out there.
What'd you think?
I loved it. I enjoyed it.
Milwaukee, I love that city. I think that's going to be the base for a long, long time.
I didn't know it was niggas out there.
Oh my gosh, are there ever? There's
He's canceled.
Milwaukee. Did they teach you the dance?
No, I got the experience like coaching. I was like, wow.
Milwaukee is actually supposed to be one of the most segregated cities in America.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I moved to Milwaukee about 8-9 years ago, and I found out like there was, because I was in sales, so I was working with small businesses in Milwaukee. There was like, okay, the south side, Latino, mostly Mexican. North side, almost all black. And then there's like a one little pocket of like, it mixes really well, and there's a lot of hippies in that neighborhood. And then it gets pretty white if you go down.
Milwaukee.
Yeah. But when I was trying to, Madison, Wisconsin's about an hour away. There was a goddamn Nazi march, dude. I was listening to a video of them yelling their chants, and it just seems like, does that blow your mind? I guess that still is like, people have the internet and they're still like, I'm going to be a Nazi.
Yeah. I mean, I be laughing at shit, like, cause it's just like, nigga, everyone's a kid, right? Everyone in the world is a child. Even these old ass people who run the country, like, they're children. And you know how sometimes you be outside or something, you're at a park, and there's like this little kid who you just like, this little fucker. Like, you just know, like, he's just always up to something and fucking with shit. They grow into these older people, and they just choose to do. It's just like, you're just a badass kid who just don't understand nothing, and you probably didn't have the proper upbringing or the proper teaching to know right from wrong. So you're just trying to fit in and do what you think feels right to make you feel good in your life. And it's like, you can't. The world is always going to be filled with a bunch of different shit. And some people is going to do that shit. Some people is going to do this shit. And it's just like, you just have to laugh at them. It's like, bro, you're stupid.
Yeah, you almost feel sorry for them, I think. If you can look at it from the bird's eye view and not get emotional about it.
When you finally get to a point of growth in your life where you can be empathetic for everyone because you understand, it's like you have a lot of empathy because it's like, bro, you're lost. Like, your life is dedicated to hatred and bigotry and just evil. Like, you're lost. When you harbor that energy, you feel like shit. I've never met someone who was on that type of time and racist who wasn't angry all the time. Like, you hate your life. You're miserable. You're so miserable that you want to go make somebody else's life miserable because you so miserable. but you think you're having a great time with your dumbass friends, and it's just like there's nothing you could do about that. They're in their own misery, you know?
You come off as a person that's kind of been to the top of the mountain and read some of the secret scrolls of life. Like you interacted with the Buddha at one time. Like, were you a reader as a kid? Like, how do you feel like you got to develop such a mature bird's eye view perspective from such a young age?
I started reading a little bit later in life, but my first time reading, like in a long time, I used to work with this woman named Rita. She was from Singapore, and she was not deeply religious, but like into like Buddhism and shit. And she gave me this book called The Freedom Simplified. And it was the first thing I read in a long time, because I was like, I don't really like reading because I didn't enjoy it from school. And I read it, and it was just like life information. And from there, I started buying a bunch of books from like Indian mystics, Swami and Sadhguru, and Stoicism, just things like that. And man, it just changed. And then I took mushrooms, and it
Yes,
opened me up
sir.
differently, and it just altered my perspective. So like all of this insight has came to me like later, and I didn't used to be this same nigga. You feel me? It came to me later in life, and now it's just like some shit is just like, once you understand it and you know, it's just very hard for you to not know. Like, I be having a difficult time in life sometimes being ain't shit, even when I want to, because I know too much. Like, I'm too aware of myself that I can't even do certain shit I used to do and enjoy for fun because it just bothered me. It doesn't resonate in my soul well no more.
Does an example of that come to mind?
Yeah, like fucking bitches.
Because it's too cheap and transactional, or like surface level for you?
That, and when I know my intentions aren't aligned, and it's like, bruh, you just fucking up somebody else's life for your own enjoyment when you know it's not going anywhere for you. And I've even tried to a point where it's like, you know how you meet some people like, oh no, I don't care about all that. I'm just enjoying my life and we just do this. That shit don't be real, because like deep inside of you still longing for something that's like missing, and you're not getting it from all the pleasure seeking. So it's just, yeah.
Did you ever go through like a hedonist period of your life where you were chasing the ice cream cone, chasing the pleasure, and then you had a realization like this is all for nothing?
Yeah, nigga, I was beating shit down. And man, I still love to beat shit down. You know, you still have those urges. That shit never changed. But yeah, there's always a point.
You sound like
it's not always
sex
a
criminal
point,
right
but
now.
Hilarious. Not a criminal. I mean, it's criminal the way I be doing it. You know,
his DMs are about to be flooded right now.
no, but yeah, there comes a point in your life where it's just like for me, not in everyone's life, but for me, where it's just like very unfulfilling. There's like this void that's just like, I have to do big things in life. Everything else is like lackluster.
One perspective that makes it very easy not to cheat or not to go down the wrong path with women is like, because I love my wife so much. She's my best friend on
Right,
earth.
cameras rolling.
But let me go
Look straight into the camera.
Sweet cheeks, this one's for you. But like, don't get me wrong, as a man, your mind can wander. You are attracted by what walks by. But I already can go through the motions in my head. Like, even if I'm a goddamn stallion, it's a 3-4 hour extravaganza and we're ripping it up and having it. Like, as soon as I jizz, I know that I'm gonna have lost everything. Because I know, like, I'm not a good liar. Like, I know as soon as I would have to go back face to face, like,
right.
My face would tell the story. Like, she wouldn't even have to know anything, but I'd have to tell her because that's just how I am. And then like, once she packs up and I lose my house and everything in my life that I love is gone, it's like, okay, yeah, like, that woman does have a nice, booty cheek, but like, I don't need to pursue it any further.
And that's beautiful. That's how you know you're growing. Like, cause there's a time in life where you could go do all this shit and feel no shame, no guilt. Like, man, I was able to just Sometimes I miss it because I was able to just walk freely and do whatever damage that I want without any type of shame or regret about it. And it's like you get to a point where you can't live with yourself. Like it just becomes really difficult to live with yourself.
That's probably that's a good way of thinking about it. Is either like if you're laying on your deathbed and you're thinking about all the things you did, like would you be proud of that decision? Or I always think too, like if a news crew had to follow me around for a day, would I be proud of what was being done? And
Right?
because I think at the end of the day,
Live
like
as if you're on camera.
yeah, and also, who cares if you have $10 million, $20 million if like your whole reputation is built on the shithole?
And you just won't be happy. Charlemagne told me the other day we were talking, and he was like, I have so many friends that are millionaires, billionaires, and they're depressed. And they're depressed because they compromise too much throughout their life. And that's what it is. Like when you go against your ethics and your morals, like you're compromising for the sake of what? Especially when it's pleasure. Like that shit's never, you can have as much money as you want and you still gonna feel poor.
I think being really, really rich is owning all your time, having enough money that you're never worried, but then also like being a magnet for community. Like, okay, because I have money, I can be the one that all my friends can come to this Airbnb. We're gonna have a good time. I think that's what wealth is. I think being lonely and extremely rich would be very sad.
Yeah, definitely. Man, I think being rich is like great soil. Like when you're rich, you never had to worry about anything because you could always cultivate something. It's like, man, whatever seed I plant in here is going to grow into whatever I imagine it to be.
Is there someone you've met in this journey that you're like, this is a person that I'm very impressed by? That's kind of, I don't know if you would say a hero or role model, or just someone that you've seen their blueprint and you're like, man, this guy has really done it the right way.
Me. Nipsey.
Yeah. Did you ever have a chance to meet him?
No, I didn't.
Dude, it's sad that he got taken out because just the way that he was building things, like he was just one of those rare, like legends of an era, and the entrepreneurial mind and
A rare Pokemon.
dude. And you couldn't even get him with the master ball. Like that guy was just like, he was uncatchable. He paved his own path. He owned himself. He did rap and he did his career the right way. I guess, about the Breakfast Club. So when you go out and you're about to do like a crazy freestyle and it's going to be like you're in front of a bunch of people, like, did you ever get nervous doing any of this stuff? Like, did you get butterflies before that? Did you have any like nerves?
Yeah, I mean, I always get butterflies, but I never get nervous. I think butterflies are natural anytime you're going to do either something exciting or just, like that's just
something that has a risk built into it.
Yeah, if you're about to drive your car hella fast, you get butterflies. Like that's just natural. But I don't get nervous. I don't ever get nervous to rap. It's like I've been rapping since I was a kid, and I rap all the time. That's the one thing I know. If someone came in here with a gun and said, "Do what the fuck you do best," I'm going to rap, and I'm gonna walk away. I don't know what everyone else is going to do, but I know for sure. You feel me? Like, so I don't really get nervous when it comes to rapping at all.
What do you think about the art of freestyling almost being extinct?
I don't think nothing too deeply about it. I think
Is it weird that some people
has
call
always-
themselves a rapper though and they can't even freestyle?
No. I don't think so. I think that art has several different phases, and there's different points in the art and they start to get extinct as the art progresses and goes into different times. I don't think it's a knock to any rapper who can't freestyle. I don't know if Drake could freestyle. I've never heard him freestyle. Does that take from how great he is as an artist?
I suppose it's like a stand-up comedian. Like, oh, if you can't improvise your whole act, then you're not shit. When most of them have their act down.
Well, that's different when your act is based on that, but it's like rapping isn't based on freestyle. Like freestyling was an initial phase. Imagine if we still played football with leather helmets. It's like you don't have to stay there because it starts there. The art is supposed to evolve, and that's okay. Those who can freestyle still is like, wow, cool, exceptional. I don't have you I don't want to hear a song with a nigga freestyling. I think it's impressive when niggas freestyle outside and record it, but if a song came on the radio and it's like a nigga's freestyle, when niggas freestyle, that shit don't, it be alright, but it don't be the verses that change our lives. Dear Mama's not a freestyle. You feel me? Like All Falls Down isn't a freestyle. So I don't have anything against rappers who can't freestyle. I have something against rappers who can't rap. You know, I don't think the freestyling matters. It's like, can you rap?
What are a couple songs that you have on repeat in the last little chunk of your life?
All Falls Down is always in my headphones when I'm in a music phase.
That is a beautiful song.
Right? What else is on repeat?
You ever heard of Little Toe?
Lil Toe?
Mm-hmm.
Is that your rap name?
No. I wish it was, but this guy, if you want to do a personal best of like push-ups, or you want to, I don't know, do some criminal activity.
Lil Toe, like tow a car, or like toe, like big toe?
He used to wear a toe outfit. I think he started as a complete like, this is how crazy the rap industry is. I'm just gonna dress like a foot, and I'm gonna make it big. But then he started coming out with some of the hardest shit that the streets have ever heard.
Yeah.
Oh my
Lil
God,
Toe?
dude! I feel like buying a sniper rifle and just smoking somebody after I listen to Little Toe. Shout out Little Toe.
See, so Lil Toe may be responsible for the mass shootings that's been taking place. Because, you know, there is music that makes you want to grab a sniper rifle and just smoke niggas.
Yeah, that's on my playlist right now. Is there any, like, what do you think about letting kids listen to what's on the radio? Like, there's some stuff, like, I see, like, little kids in Milwaukee singing along to certain songs. I'm like, your kid knows this word for word? Like, it's not like it's like, I read 100 books, then I walked to grandma across the street. You know, it's like some kind of crazy things for a 5-year-old to be repeating. Maybe I'll bring up a more recent example. There's a rapper named like Little Retweet or Little RT. Have you heard of this guy?
No.
He is, I don't know if he's 9, but he's talking like he's done like 15 life sentences. Like he's like talking about fleeing from the cops, and it's hard as fuck. But I'm also thinking, like, I was actually kind of happy when I saw the comment section of the song, because all of it was like, what are his parents letting him do right now? And it made me sad because it's too much of a spectacle. It's just, what's your take on things like that?
Man. Kids are mirrors of the world that they're in. And you don't ever go in the mirror and break the mirror and be like, problem solved. It's like the mirror wasn't the issue. The issue was what's being reflected in it. You feel me? So in order for us to correct the children, we have to correct the people that the children are around and what they're witnessing and experiencing, because my daughter doesn't do that. You feel me? So it's like the kids aren't the issue. The kids are always just a reflection. Whatever is shown is what they're going to recreate and reenact.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think he's, I don't know, this kid's like 7. You may have seen him go viral for the wrong reason, but there's this little white kid who's like named like Little Boppy or something like that, and he's like always holding guns in his Instagram. And he's hitting me up. I know it's his older brothers, but like he's hitting me up to come to his town and do a video with him. And I'm just like, The only video would be like, "Hey, nice to meet you." And where the fuck is your mother? Like, I gotta talk to this lady. But it's obviously what's been reflected to him, and like he has a
Man.
video going viral of him like humping a stuffed animal. Like, can you imagine like like he's like laying down the pipe because that's what you know. But can you imagine like being like the 17-year-old brother and be like, all right, man, this is what's gonna be big. Like you gotta
And that's the thing. 17-year-old brothers, 24-year-old mothers. So like it's kids. Like I go pick up my child from school, and some of the parents there are like younger than me, and
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay.
And when I was 22, 21, 23, I didn't have the capacity to raise a child. Probably like I was still stupid and fucking off and doing it, listening to the, you feel me? And like when you're on that time, you can only cultivate what you cultivate. And man, the kids are just always going to be a reflection. There's nothing you could do about that besides change what they're around and change the environment and surroundings. But if it's like that's what your mama on, that's what you're gonna be on. Generally, 9 times out of 10, unless somebody else around you is pouring into you. But most of the time, it's like you're gonna be. You have to, because you have to survive in that environment.
Do you feel like our country is trending in a good direction? Like, do you feel like America is going in the direction where you're like, yeah, things are looking really good for us right now? Or do you feel like, I know every era, like there's like an existential crisis where it's like, okay, well, we're all going down the tubes now, and then inevitably we figure it out and we make it past it. Like the 80s had that when everything crashed, 2007 housing crisis. But does it feel like we're accelerating to the abyss right now, or does it feel like it's just a little phase we're going through?
You just told me you heard a song that made you want to pick up a sniper rifle and kill someone.
It could have been a bit of an exaggeration.
I mean, but I think that's reflective of the times. Would you say that's a great direction to go in? If you went home and your daughter was like, "Man, I heard this song, Dad, and I want to go pick up a sniper rifle and kill someone,"
I would
you
probably,
be like,
I'd probably like, give me the iPhone, give me the iPhone.
right? I mean, I think that the world is. There's no good. The world is as it is, and man, you see it in society. We're in a dire state of humanity. Like we lack the amount of good humans. Not good, but
It seems like community is missing. Communities are completely...
We don't have leadership or guidance or anyone. Well, we have people, but it's just very few. Like the mass, what we consume on a massive scale is just always tainted.
It's the fast food.
It's rough. And the art is tainted. Like they've taken control of the music to where now you're hearing things that make you want to go shoot somebody versus something that makes you want to go hug somebody or talk to your parents or talk to your kids or nurture your relationship. We used to have music like that and we don't no more. So it's like once you kind of taint the art and then you taint the food and then you taint the education, and it's like you're going to get, I think America is exactly where whoever created the plan for America to be.
I suppose all we can do is, I think it's always going to start from the individual. Like no movement that's going to save the country is going to come from the government down. It's always going to be us and our own friend group and own community and state and nation. It's always going to go outward. And so maybe this is a good time that, folks, if there's someone in your life that you haven't talked to recently, or maybe that you just want to tell them that you love them or send them a nice compliment, text that person or call them up even and say something nice. Because I think we be the change you want to be in the world, and we have that power. And I think like people want to think that if you can't do it on such a huge scale, like if you don't have a platform like Kanye West or someone where it's millions of people being affected, that it's not going to matter. But really, in reality, what does matter is, you know, hitting up my buddy and just being like, "Man, I love you, man. Like, thank you for being in my life." And that's where the revolution starts.
Right? You can't. That's it.
Well, you know what, folks?
That's it. It's a slow grind. It's a slow grind. Like growth, it's a slow grind. You just and you want it to be. Like I said, you're growing an apple tree. You can either eat a Big Mac or you can grow an apple tree. And anyone who expects to grow an apple tree in a day, a week, it's just like, bro, you're never gonna get it.
We're going to end on these wise words. Every link where you can find this man is going to be in the description. Please show him some love and check out. If you haven't heard him already, check him out. And if you're already rocking with him, continue to rock with him. But we'll end the episode by doing this. Call somebody, text somebody that you want to tell that you love them, or say a genuine compliment. Like, man, you know, you're just the funniest guy I know. Whatever it is.
You know what'd be cooler? You guys should do it to someone you don't know.
Whoa.
That'll be more impactful.
Yeah. I just saw a guy walking
It's very
down the street
easy
the
to
other
be
day.
kind to the people who are kind to us and the people that we see and we know. It's also easy to be cruel to them, but it's like, try doing that shit to the person that you usually just walk past, you know, because that could really affect the day a lot differently.
We just got a peek into the mind of LaRussell, the guy that is just absolutely a profound human being. He's the flower blooming. And I really enjoyed having the chance to talk to you, meet you. And folks, spread love. See you next week. Peace.